From the heart of Statesboro and straight down the Blue Mile, this is the Blue Mile Breakdown, your weekly dive into Georgia Southern football. Now here's your host, Brendan Sapp, Hail Southern and GATA.
Oh, welcome in everybody to episode 9, season 1 of the Blue Mile Breakdown. I am your host, Brendan Sapp, and today, well, the regular season's over. And we're 500 again. Oh, man, I don't know what else to say. Congratulations on the big win up in West Virginia at Marshall. The Eagle team we wanted to see showed up. The team we wanted to watch all season showed up. And there's a lot of news to cover, so let's get into it. First, we're going to jump into stats, of course. We're going to look at my 3 keys to winning the game. We're going to start. I'm going to use 3 different fingers this time so I don't flip you guys off. We're going to start with the middle. How about that? The turnover battle. Each team had a turnover. We lost a fumble. Each team turned the ball over, so I'm going to call that a wash. Phase 2, penalties. There were only 5 penalties called in this entire game. There should have been probably about 60, but there were 5. I'll take it. They let them play. Only 2 on Georgia Southern, though. 2 penalties for 15 yards. Way to go. And third down efficiency, 11 of 19. 11 of 19, 31 first downs for Georgia Southern after only getting 12 a week ago. It really just depends on what team shows up. I'm telling you, it's a tale of 2 teams, but it's one team. It's wild. Just to run through some team numbers here. Georgia Southern with 173 yards on the ground, 355 through the air for 528 total yards. Of course, the final score being 24-19. If you watch the game was not 24-19 closer. It didn't feel like it should have been. Because one of the most staggering statistics I've seen all year, time of possession in this game. There's 60 minutes in a football game, a college football game. Georgia Southern had the ball 41 minutes and 38 seconds. Marshall only having the ball 18 minutes, 22 seconds in this entire game, y'all. That's crazy. That's literally insane. Player stats. French with another good game, man. 24-37, 313 yards, 2 touchdowns. Weston Bryan, my dude, coming in there 2 for 2, 42 yards and a touchdown. Just another good performance for the true freshman in his limited role. He also had 5 carries for 23 yards. A couple crucial first downs achieved by Weston Bryan. Leading rusher on the day was Teo Todd. He had 13 carries for 60 yards. How about this? Number 2 rusher, J.C. French, 15 carries, 51 yards. Bryce Baker, the name we have not called all season, 12 carries, 42 yards. Kid was impressive, man. He had explosive speed out of the backfield and elusiveness. He could slip through some of those small gaps that you didn't even see there. An impressive showing. Honestly, an impressive showing. We did not get the ball in the end zone on the ground. All 3 touchdowns were through the air. Camden Brown showing out, man. Just showing out again. 9 receptions for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. Finishes the year with 1,049 yards and 14 touchdowns. He is the first Georgia Southern receiver to ever break 1,000 yards on the season. He's our first 1,000-yard wide receiver. And he did it on 63 receptions and had 14 touchdowns on the season. Just an amazing season for this kid, man. Very underutilized at Auburn. I'm so glad he made the choice to come over to Georgia Southern because he has been a difference maker all year, and we are definitely going to miss him after the bowl game. Wish we could get a couple more seasons out of him, but it is what it is there. Marcus Sanders Jr. having another great game. 8 receptions for 135 yards and a touchdown. What does Sanders finish on the year? Because he had some big games too. Oh, he was close. 45 receptions for 725 yards and 4 touchdowns. So he was a couple hundred yards away. If he'd had a couple more big games, he'd also hit 1,000 there. But again, another senior, and we're losing him. Teo Todd, 4 receptions, 26 yards. Amon Green, only 2 receptions, but they were both big in big moments when we needed those yards for a first down. I think we're losing Amon too, aren't we? Amon is a senior. That's right. Wow. Bryce Baker had 1 catch out of the backfield for 13 yards, and Taylor Bradshaw had 2 receptions for 11 yards. Excuse me. French fumbled twice. We only lost one of them. It was at a terrible time though, because we had just came down the field a long way and got right there in the red zone and turned it over. On defense, Justin Myers, the big guy for the day there, 8 total tackles. A lot of names that you didn't recognize playing in this game because Georgia Southern had 23 players out due to injury. 23 players. And there was a good bit of those that were starters, so impressive what they were able to go up there and do. Again, I applaud anything the team does positively. I am an Eagle fan forever. I mean, I'm a diehard Eagle. I'm always going to support the team, even when I don't like what's happening with the team. Because it's like I said, sometimes you can look at a football team and see that the players are going half speed. They don't care. They honestly shouldn't be playing in the level of competition that they're in. Maybe they, sometimes scholarships are given to players that don't deserve them. That's not the case with this team. That's not the case with this team. Every guy on that field's going as hard as they can all year, and they've done incredible things on the field, and they haven't been coached well. And the statement was released that Brandon Bailey would not be retained. He has been fired. Hallelujah. We will have a new defensive coordinator. And I really hope that we get out there and we make a good pick. I hope we don't just promote somebody from within or take the first available guy because he's cheap. I hope we will actually consider, hey, we may have been able to play for a Sunbelt championship this year if we'd had some defense, definitely last year. We were a better team overall last year, getting 8 wins on the season. Had we not blown that JMU game last year, we were playing in the championship instead of Marshall. But it is what it is at this point. That's history now. But the defense cost us a lot in the last couple of seasons, and I hope that we make a well thought out decision and do what's best for the program on the field, not what's best for, this donor really likes this guy. He's a buddy of his, because we've been down that road. And I'm going to say it now, and I don't care what you think about it, because it's my opinion. You can't tell me my opinion's wrong because it's my opinion. Just like whatever your opinion is, it's your opinion. It's not right or it's not wrong. But I see a lot of people I've seen on the social media posts of the announcement of Bailey being fired that they were excited. The offense is great. No, the offense is not great. Appleton is terrible when it gets to the red zone. I mean, absolutely horrible. And that was evident again on Saturday. 528 yards, 41 minutes of possession time, 3 touchdowns. And most of those were longer passes. They weren't once we got to the red zone. Same thing happened in App State. Here we put up almost 600 yards of offense between the 20s. Once we hit the red zone, we couldn't do anything. And it goes back to, I could give you an exact example that happened this weekend. Baker was in at running back, and how many carries did he have? Because a lot of the yards were on that drive. 12 carries, 42 yards. I would venture to say 28 to 32 of those 42 yards were on that drive. Every time he touched the ball, kid was money. 10 yards, 12 yards. We get down in the red zone. They pulled him out, put Todd in, and we end up with a field goal. And it wasn't Todd's fault because Todd didn't get the ball either. The run was working. We came down the field with the run. And then we get in the red zone, and Applin tries to be cute with these stupid little pass plays behind the line of scrimmage and stuff, and we end up having to settle for a field goal. Why didn't we just keep running the ball? Okay, if Baker needs a breather, I get that, but you got Todd. Todd's doing a good job too. He has 60 yards on 13 carries. Hand him the ball. Run the same play you just ran with Baker with Todd. What are we doing? And it wasn't just this game or just that drive. It was all season. Applin is not the guy. He's not the guy. I don't mind our offensive style, but the play calling has got to get better. Let's just hypothetically here, we go get an ace in the hole defensive coordinator that comes in next year, and we've got a top 10 defense in the nation, but we still got Applin calling plays. This game should have been an absolute blowout. We should have put up 60 points in this game, at least 60. We had the ball over 40 minutes in a 60-minute game. I mean, that would be like a basketball team having the ball 3/4 of the game and only scoring 20 points. I mean, it's the same principle. Like, you're there. You've got the ball the whole game. How are you not scoring? You're putting up almost 600 yards of offense. And to be honest, in a game where you got the ball over 40 minutes, you should have hit over 700 yards of offense. There's no reason. I mean, we put up 500 yards of offense with 31 minutes of possession. We had the ball 10 minutes longer in this game. The App State game, we had 31 minutes and 10 seconds time of possession and put up more yards than we did against Marshall with the ball almost 42 minutes. No, the offense isn't good. So to everybody on social media that's happy about Bailey, dude, I am too. I'm happy about Bailey. I'm happy about Bailey I'm not happy the man lost his job. Let me be clear about that. I'm never happy when somebody loses their job, their livelihood. But I'm happy that he will no longer be impacting Georgia Southern football. That's what I'm happy about. I'm happy that his decision-making has nothing to do with my Eagles going forward. I'm not happy the man's unemployed. There was another guy let go. I can't remember his name. I honestly had never heard it before I saw he was let go. So he wasn't that impactful either, I guess. But so you look at that, the fact that, okay, we're going to have a defensive change. That's great. We need an offensive change too. And I hope after the bowl game one comes, I know it's going to be hard for Helton to let the guy go because they're buddies and like he's a family friend. And that's the biggest problem I see with Helton's coaching is it's family friends, you know, and it's going to be hard to let him go from a personal level. But I think you need to look at, hey, I need this job. Because if you don't think Georgia Southern will fire you, we'll find the money if it comes to it. We'll find the money. You will get fired at Georgia Southern. Ask Mike Sewak. Mike Sewak was taking us to the playoffs every year and got fired, which I still think is one of the dumbest moves ever, especially when you replace him with Brian Van Gorder. Ugh. But you will get fired at Georgia Southern. Ask Chad Lunsford, the golden boy. You know, he was loved at Georgia Southern. Got fired. So don't think that Georgia Southern won't fire you. But you better start you better start putting your personal life over here and your professional life in front of you, because I understand that the guy's a friend, but you got to pull the trigger on that. He's not a play caller. His schemes are good. I'm not going to say his offense is bad, because the offense, like I said again, the offense looked good. We had a 1,000-yard receiver. O.J. Arnold, had he not been hurt, would have probably went over 1,000 yards on the ground. I guarantee he would have, because he essentially missed the last two games. He only had 3 carries in the game where he got injured against ODU. He would have gone over 1,000 yards on the ground. And what's French finished the season on passing yards? Just under 3,000 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And again, I say 8. I'm going to say 7 because it's really 8, but I'm going to say 7 because that one interception in the Coastal game at halftime was just terrible play calling and clock management. So I don't know. Is it a much better season for French than he had last year? Let's see. Completion percentage is actually worse this year than it was last year. But his touchdown interception ratio, he threw for 2,800 yards last year. Now, that is also including a bowl game, so he's going to have more yards this year, hopefully. Because right now he's at 2,831 and 2,753, so he's about 80 yards more last year than he threw for this year. So I hope he has more yards in the bowl game. Quarterback rating is a lot higher this year. Ironically, he was sacked the same amount of times. But last year, his average was 6.9. This year, 7.5. Now, he did do that. Before I get to his touchdown interception ratio, he did that. He did the yards this year versus last year. He achieved that with almost 60 less attempts. So that's why his average is a little higher there. But last year, 17 touchdowns. This year, he had 19 touchdowns. Last year, 11 interceptions. This year, 8. Now, like I said, we still got one more game to go, so those numbers could definitely look worse once we're done. But I thought French had a much better year. I wasn't as frustrated with him as I was last year. I was frustrated with play calling though, and it's gotta change. It's gotta get better. There's no reason that any coach at the FBS level should be that terrible at their job and still be employed. Let me say that again. There is no reason that any coach at the FBS level should be that bad at their job and still have a job. I don't know how else to put it. It is extremely frustrating as a fan. And to me, it's even more frustrating as a coach, as a former coach. You know, I didn't coach college football. I probably could have pursued the career. And I'm not going to say I would have ever been an FBS coach, but I probably could have pursued the career. I made different choices in life, and I had a family really young, so I needed money, and I knew unless I was Nick Saban, there was not a lot of money in coaching. So not compared to what I do. So anyway, I guess you could call me an armchair on this, but as somebody with experience coaching and calling the offense as well as being the head coach, well, I actually call the defense too, but calling the offense especially, when we had plays that worked that got us down the field, I mean, I didn't run the ball from the 10-yard line down to the 10-yard line and then decide, you know what, let's try 3 passes. They're not stopping the run. We're going to run that. Now, if next drive we got a little quick slant that's getting us down the field and they can't seem to figure it out, we're going to that first and goal, that's the first play we're trying. Now, if that doesn't work, we might have to change things up. But that's not what Applin does. Applin is like, okay, cool, that got us down the field. Let's do something completely different. And 9.5 times out of 10, we end up going for it on 4th and turning the ball over or kicking a field goal. And that's unacceptable. I don't care. I don't care who you are, what level you play on or coach on. That is unacceptable. So final standings in the Sun Belt. Of course, it looks like Troy actually snuck in to the conference championship game. It looked like it was going to be Southern Miss all year. They were 5-0 in the conference and dropped their last 3 conference games. Is that right? Is that right? I got to see this. They certainly did. Oh, man. And 2 of the losses were just inexcusable. Blown out by Texas State, who was a bottom feeder this year in their final season in the Sun Belt before going to a Power 5 conference. Wow. They lost to Texas State 41-14. The next week lost to South Alabama 42-35, and then Troy put the nail in the coffin in the deciding game, 28-18. So you're going to have James Madison versus Troy next Saturday for the conference championship. James Madison sitting at 8-0. If they win, I think they'd be the first undefeated champion since Georgia Southern did it in 2015. James Madison also 11-1 overall. That one loss was to, who was that to? Louisville. They lost to Louisville 28-14, and Louisville just rolled Kentucky 42-0 last week. So Louisville's a pretty good team. And James Madison obviously is a pretty good team too. So, yep, looks like the Dukes are going to do it again, unless Troy can stand up and stop them. But I don't see it. So James Madison's probably going to get a really good bowl game. And honestly, I don't know, man. What's the college football playoffs looking like? Because I know Tulane right now is let's see. All right, this was released yesterday. Now, we don't have the current bracket because, that'll come out in a couple of days. But so, let's see. Texas A&M lost. So that's one of the top 5 teams that's going to be a little shake-up there. I don't think there's very many other surprises, but when you look down to the group of 5 schools, you don't really find group of 5 schools until you get way down here. BYU, Utah, Tulane, but then I'm not sure. Let me do a little more digging. I should have done this. You guys know how to podcast roll. Sometimes I think about stuff and then I'm like, hey, I want to check on that. I don't think about it before I start rolling. What? That's not what I typed. Well, Tulane's 10-2, and they'll play North Texas for the conference on the 5th. So Friday night at 8 on ABC. If Tulane wins that game, they'll be 11-2 and conference champions in the American. So I'm thinking you may see Tulane in the playoffs there. What about BYU? Oh, BYU's in a tie with Texas Tech, so that may come down to whoever wins. I forgot BYU is also in the Big 12. They just took everybody out west and put them in the Big 12, and teams started leaving. I don't know. But anyway, BYU or Texas Tech, one of them is in, one of them is out. But again, that's not a group of 5. So, yeah, it looks like the highest rated group of 5 right now is Tulane. I don't know. You almost kind of have to make a case for James Madison. You almost have to make that case for James Madison because they've got a better record than Tulane, and they'll be 12-1 if they beat Troy on Saturday, and conference champion. So who knows? We may see James Madison sneak through the back door into the playoffs. It may be Tulane. It may be. Either way. Oh, here's the conference championships coming up this weekend. Friday, you got the AAC with Tulane and North Texas. Saturday at noon, you got BYU and Texas Tech for the Big 12. Saturday at 4, the big one that all eyes are going to be on, of course, the SEC, Georgia and Alabama. Honestly, it looks like winners in, losers out there too. And this one has bigger playoff implications to me. Ohio State and Indiana, 1 and 2, both undefeated, number 1 and number 2 teams, and they got to play on Saturday at 8. So one of them is going to drop. One of them is going to get a loss. One of them is going to drop down the poll, probably out of the top 4. So one of them is going to go from having the home field advantage in the bye to playing first round, looks like. The ACC championship, also at 8 o'clock on Saturday, Duke and University of Virginia. Virginia doing it, 10-2. Good season for those guys. back to Georgia Southern. We wrap it up again. Finish the season 500. What are you going to do at this point? I mean, we were 2-5 at one point, so at least we got back to 500, and we're looking at a bowl game, because just a couple weeks ago, after that ODU game, it was like, and even back before then, before we got on that 2-game streak against App and Coastal, it did not look feasible that we were going to get a bowl game. So we'll see what happens. Guys, right now I'm going to take a short pause to tell you about G Fuel Energy and G Fuel Hydration. Go to gfuel.com, use my promo code BrendanSat157 for a good discount. Here's more.
Fuel your grind, power your play, and stay locked in with G Fuel Energy. When the game gets intense, hydration is everything. That's why I choose G Fuel. Zero sugar, zero caffeine, packed with electrolytes, antioxidants, and vitamins. Whether I'm streaming, grinding ranked, or just powering through my day, G Fuel keeps me focused and fueled. G Fuel, G Hydration, stay fueled, stay unstoppable. Go to gfuel.com and use my promo code BrendanSat157 at checkout.
All right, so we're talking about bowl games. We're talking about going bowling. Georgia Southern, obviously. We're talking about the college football playoffs. And there's literally no reason to bring that up when we're talking about Georgia Southern. This year especially, maybe one day, if we can ever get our stuff together. Let's see, bowl game predictions right now. The official bowl show obviously has not been released. Or the bowl show hasn't happened, so that's going to be in a couple. I think it's next weekend, right? Next Sunday after the conference championships, I believe. I don't know why I clicked on that. It said bowl projections, and all it showed me was college football playoffs. I saw a thing last night that had Georgia Southern looking at a couple different bowl games. Here's one I haven't seen yet. So there's a plethora apparently. One was let me look. I have this on my phone. I know I've got a screenshot on my phone. Okay, so one prediction. So one prediction is December 19th in the Myrtle Beach Bowl against East Carolina. Another is going back to Mobile, first time since 2015 when we won the GoDaddy Bowl. Georgia Southern versus Central Michigan. And Sports Illustrated actually has us projected to play Army in the Armed Forces Bowl on January 2nd. Not sure that we're worthy of a January bowl game, but there it is. Just some of the other projections that we see right now, just running down some of the bigger or the more prominent bowl games that we see every year. We'll start with some of the bowl games that Georgia Southern has played in. The Cure Bowl. I'm not sure Sports Illustrated has their heads screwed on right, because they're showing us playing Army in January, and then they're showing Tulane and James Madison. One of those teams potentially is going to be in the playoffs. Now, if they both lose, obviously they're both out, and maybe they're projecting both of them to lose, but I honestly don't see either one of them losing. I don't think either one of them loses their championship game on Saturday. But even if one of them loses and one of them wins, this is kind of a weird – they've got the Cure Bowl slated for Tulane and James Madison. I don't think that's going to happen. One of them will make the playoffs, one of them will not. If they both win, one's in, one's out. You know, if they both lose, maybe, but I don't think North Texas can beat Tulane, and I'm pretty confident that Troy is going to get manhandled by James Madison. Myrtle Beach Bowl, Georgia Southern's been there before. Southern Miss versus Miami, Ohio. That's who smoked us in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Let's see, New Orleans Bowl. We've played that one before too, and rolled Louisiana Tech, and they're showing Louisiana Tech versus Louisiana's projection right now. Kennesaw State going bowling. They're projected to play in the Frisco Bowl versus San Diego State. So like I said, some of the more notable bowl games that are just outside of the bigger ones. The Gator Bowl. They're projecting Miami versus Vanderbilt. The Pop-Tarts Bowl. That one's fun with the edible mascot and stuff. BYU and Georgia Tech is who they're projecting to go there. The Alamo Bowl. Houston versus USC. Citrus Bowl. Michigan versus Texas. Vegas Bowl. Illinois versus Arizona. Sun Bowl. Arizona State and SMU. And again, Armed Forces Bowl, Army versus Georgia Southern. That's quite a wild prediction, in my opinion. But isn't that the Duke's Mayo Bowl? They just have it listed as the Mayo Bowl. Clemson versus Missouri. And I'm not sure what the ESPN Events Bowl is, but they're projecting Delaware to take on Coastal Carolina in that bowl. Let's look at another source. All right, so I'm not even sure who Sporting News is, but they've got bowl projections up too. Let's look and see what they think. Where do they have? They have Georgia Southern versus East Carolina. That's a matchup that we've seen, but in the Go Bowling Military Bowl, never heard of that one. But they are showing Georgia Southern and East Carolina. That's twice I've seen us play, slated with East Carolina. Do they not have the Camellia Bowl anymore? I'm just asking because I have not seen it listed anywhere. Georgia Southern's played there twice. My family and I went out to the last one when we lost to Buffalo. How about this bowl? The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl presented by Gin and Juice. Man, that is wild. Now, this is showing the Gator Bowl with Minnesota and North Carolina State. I honestly thought an SEC school went to the Gator Bowl every year. I didn't think they could have that. I thought that was ACC versus SEC. So I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that source. Let's look at Athlon Sports. I have heard of them before. All right, they have us slated in the 68 Ventures Bowl at Mobile, Alabama, which we've also seen on ESPN, but they have us playing Delaware. That would be fun. Dude, we haven't played the Blue Hen since the playoffs years ago. That would be a fun kind of throwback to the FCS days, wouldn't it? Let's see if they have some more realistic. I got to go look at the Gator Bowl. Yeah, it's an ACC versus SEC. So, yeah, Sporting News has no idea what they're talking about, which I kind of figured once I started reading some of the bowl matchups they had. Miami versus Tennessee. I've seen that on a few of the projections. And right now, this is just for fun. This is just speculation and projection. But it's nice to have fun on this podcast for a change, so that's what we're doing here. Let's see if we have any more sources. Sporting News, I think you can throw them into the barrel with that would be like Huffington Post giving college football news. It's nowhere near accurate or even like I'm not sure who wrote their bowl projections, but they don't even know the tie-ins. They were just naming teams. It's like somebody gave them a list of all the bowl eligible teams, and they're like, okay, well, this team's going to play this team. Guys, right now I'm going to take a quick pause to tell you about Gamer Advantage eyewear. Go to gameradvantage.com. Use the promo code BrendanSapp157. Take it away.
Hi, Brendan Sapp here, better known in the streaming community as Brendan Sapp157. I'm here today to talk to you about Gamer Advantage glasses. Before I discovered Gamer Advantage eyewear, gaming was taking a toll on my eyes. Long hours staring at a screen left me with constant eye fatigue, dry eyes, and restless nights. I was tired, frustrated, and frankly, losing my edge. But then I found Gamer Advantage. These glasses aren't just any gaming glasses, they're a game changer. With their state-of-the-art blue light technology, Gamer Advantage glasses filter out all the harmful blue light that's been keeping you up at night. No more eye strain, no more dry eyes, just clear vision and a great night's sleep. Now, I wake up refreshed, ready to take on any challenge, whether it's IRL or in the game. If you care about your eyes, whether you're a gamer, programmer, or anyone who spends time in front of a screen, I highly recommend Gamer Advantage eyewear. Protect your eyes, perform at your best. Gamer Advantage. See the game, save your eyes.
Anyway, that's about all I got this week, y'all. We'll know more come Sunday, when we find out how the season plays out. We'll talk about the Sun Belt Championship game. We'll probably talk about all the championship games a little bit, since that's all that's really happening this week. And I do believe let me look that up real quick. I'm pretty sure the bowl projection, or the bowl show is bowl selection show is on Sunday. Let's see. College football playoff selection show, date and time. This is from the NCAA. So, yes, it is at noon on Sunday on ESPN, from 12 to 3 on ESPN on Sunday. Of course, that first 2 hours is going to be talking about the playoffs, and then they'll spend an hour going through the other 65 bowl games. There's not that many, but still. That's the nature of the beast. So Sunday evening, hopefully I can get back in here and we can cover the championship Saturday and Friday and talk about where Georgia Southern's going bowling and who we're playing against and where we can get tickets. Because whether we like the coaches or not, whether we agree with coaching decisions or not, if you are a Georgia Southern fan, you are a Georgia Southern fan of those boys on the field, and they deserve our support, regardless of bad coaching decisions or not. You know, those guys they give it their all every Saturday and every day, really, with the weight room and training and practice and everything that they do. And we need to support them regardless. And I hope if any of the players have seen any of my episodes this year, they know that none of my disdain for what's happened this year is on them. Even you, JC French. I don't blame any of y'all. I blame poor coaching on defense, and I blame horrible play calling on offense. For the reason that we are excited to be 6-6 and go into a bowl game when we should be 11-1. I'm sorry. USC is the only team that should have beat us this year. With the talent we have on the field, USC is the only team that should have beat us this year. We weren't winning that game regardless. Fresno shouldn't have beat us. James Madison shouldn't have beat us. And I could definitely list Southern Miss should definitely not have beat us. ODU should not have beat us. And again, I don't blame the players. I blame the coaches. It is what it is. One of them's gone. Maybe the other one's gone after the bowl game. Or maybe Helton sees it between now and the bowl game and we can get something better for the bowl game so we don't lose it too. I know if I'm a coach on a hot seat, I'm going to make every change possible, regardless of friendships, to try to win. But who am I? I'm just a host of a podcast. I am Brendan Sapp, and until next time, GATA and Hail Southern.
This has been the Blue Mile Breakdown, brought to you in part by Gamer Advantage Eyewear and G Fuel Energy. Make sure to tune in next time as we dive deep into Georgia Southern football.